Released in 1980, Popeye brought the iconic spinach-loving sailor to the big screen with Robin Williams in his first major film role. With its whimsical sets, catchy songs, and larger-than-life characters, the movie has become a cult classic over the years. But how much do you really know about it? From behind-the-scenes struggles to surprising casting choices and production secrets, here are 15 things you didn't know about Popeye, the movie. Sometimes, movies come into existence for the strangest reasons, and Popeye is a prime example. In the late 1970s, Paramount Pictures had its sights set on adapting Annie, the wildly popular Broadway musical. However, a heated bidding war ensued, and Columbia Pictures ultimately won the rights. Paramount, left without a major musical project, scrambled to find an alternative that could compete. Looking at the properties they already owned, Paramount landed on Popeye, the beloved spinach-loving sailor. But instead of crafting a straightforward adventure film, they doubled down on the musical angle, hoping to mirror Annie's success. By 1977, Popeye was officially greenlit, not out of passion for the character, but as a direct response to losing Annie. Ironically, while Annie wasn't a major box office hit upon release, it grew into a family favorite over time. Popeye, on the other hand, remains an oddity, part adventure, part musical, and completely unexpected. Its unusual origin story explains why the film often feels like a mix of two different visions, blending classic cartoon energy with the spectacle of a Broadway show. Bringing Popeye to the big screen wasn't as straightforward as Paramount had hoped. At the time, multiple companies held different rights to the character, creating confusion over who could actually produce a feature film. While King Features Syndicate controlled the TV rights, licensing them to Hanna-Barbera for the all-new Popeye Hour, Paramount still retained theatrical rights, thanks to their connection to Popeye's earliest cinematic appearances. Back in the 1930s and 1940s, Paramount had distributed the legendary Popeye cartoons created by Max Fleischer. These theatrical shorts, filled with innovative animation and slapstick humor, had cemented Popeye as a pop culture icon. Because of this long-standing association, Paramount was able to move forward with a Popeye movie, bypassing any legal roadblocks that might have stopped them otherwise. Without the Fleischer cartoons, it's possible Popeye never would have made it to theaters in live-action form. The character's cinematic roots gave Paramount just enough legal footing to greenlight the film, proving that sometimes, decades-old deals can still shape Hollywood's biggest productions. Bringing Popeye to life in live-action meant finding the perfect actors to embody its larger-than-life cartoon characters. Initially, Paramount had its eyes on a major Hollywood star for the role of Popeye, Dustin Hoffman. However, after creative clashes with screenwriter Jules Feiffer, Hoffman walked away from the project, leaving the studio to search for a new lead. Enter Robin Williams. At the time, Williams was best known for his role as Mork in Mork and Mindy, and Popeye was set to be his big-screen debut. His comedic timing, physicality, and ability to transform into eccentric characters made him the perfect choice, despite being a relative newcomer to film. Casting Olive Oyl was just as challenging. Lily Tomlin was briefly considered, but the role was ultimately offered to Saturday Night Live star Gilda Radner. However, Radner's manager strongly advised her against taking the part, fearing the film would be a disaster that could harm her career. With Radner out, the role went to Shelley Duvall, fresh off The Shining, whose lanky frame, expressive face, and natural resemblance to Olive Oyl made her an inspired choice. Duvall's portrayal remains one of the film's most memorable elements, perfectly capturing the essence of Popeye's love interest. For fans of the Popeye comics and cartoons, one major character was noticeably absent from the 1980 film, Eugene the Jeep. This small, mystical creature, known for its ability to predict the future and teleport, was a staple in the original Popeye lore. The film's initial script included Eugene, but due to budget constraints and the difficulty of bringing the otherworldly character to life, he was cut before production began. Instead, the role of a mystical companion was transferred to Sweet Pea, Popeye's adopted baby. In the comics, Sweet Pea is a regular infant, but in the film, he was given psychic abilities, likely a remnant of Eugene's intended storyline. While Sweet Pea's fortune-telling powers added a unique twist, longtime Popeye fans couldn't help but notice that one of the franchise's most bizarre and beloved characters had been left behind. Had Eugene made it into the final cut, Popeye could have been even stranger than it already was. But given the film's already chaotic mix of live-action cartoon logic, musical numbers, and slapstick comedy, perhaps one less supernatural element was a wise decision. In an unusual collaboration, Popeye wasn't just a standalone film, it was part of a larger deal between two Hollywood giants, Paramount Pictures and Walt Disney Studios. While Paramount took charge of the North American distribution, Disney handled the film's international release. This partnership was highly uncommon at the time, as both studios were competitors. The deal included Popeye and another film, Dragonslayer, 1981, a dark and gritty fantasy adventure that was a major departure from Disney's usual family-friendly fare. With its mature themes, graphic violence, and special effects created by industrial light and magic, Dragonslayer was Disney's attempt to break into a more adult-oriented fantasy market. The film was well received by critics but struggled at the box office. Meanwhile, Popeye fared slightly better financially but still fell short of expectations. While the two movies had little in common thematically, they remain linked as part of an unusual partnership between two studios that rarely work together. Bringing the world of Popeye to life required more than just sets, it required an entire town. Rather than filming on existing locations, the production built Sweet Haven from scratch on the Mediterranean island of Malta. The elaborate coastal village featured winding streets, rustic wooden houses, and a real harbor, giving the film a unique and immersive setting. However, there was one problem: the set was much bigger than necessary, significantly driving up production costs. Despite this, the decision to build an entire town paid off in an unexpected way. Instead of tearing it down after filming, the Sweet Haven set was preserved and transformed into Popeye Village, a family-friendly amusement park that remains one of Malta's top tourist attractions. Today, visitors can explore the original film sets, watch Popeye-themed performances, and even meet characters dressed as Popeye and Olive Oyl. What started as an expensive movie set turned into a beloved destination, proving that even a film with mixed success can leave a lasting legacy in the real world. Bringing Popeye's signature oversized forearms to life in live action proved to be a bigger challenge than expected. The filmmakers knew they couldn't rely on visual effects alone, so they designed prosthetic arms for Robin Williams to wear throughout the film. However, the first attempt, a pair of inflatable arms, looked completely unnatural, making Popeye resemble a cartoon character in the worst way possible. Realizing the issue, the production team ordered new custom-made prosthetics from Italy. But with the film already underway in Malta, this last-minute fix caused a significant delay. Rather than halting production entirely, director Robert Altman found a creative workaround. He filmed scenes that avoided showing Popeye's arms until the improved versions arrived. Once the new prosthetics were finally delivered, they looked much more convincing. However, they still weren't perfect. Williams later admitted that the bulky arms made movement difficult and were incredibly uncomfortable to wear. Despite the hassle, the final result gave Popeye his signature look, ensuring that audiences could instantly recognize the spinach-powered sailor on screen. Robin Williams brought boundless energy to his role as Popeye, but his commitment to the character came at a painful price. One of the film's most intense moments involved a fight scene between Popeye and his hulking nemesis, Bluto. As part of the action, a can of spinach, Popeye's iconic source of strength, was supposed to be thrown at him. Unfortunately, something went wrong, and instead of landing safely in his hands, the can struck Williams directly on the forehead. The impact was much harder than anticipated, cutting Williams open and leaving him bleeding. The injury was serious enough that production had to be halted while he was rushed to the hospital. He received stitches to close the wound, and filming was temporarily put on hold. Though Williams made a quick recovery and returned to set, the accident became just one of many challenges that plagued Popeye's production. Despite the setback, he powered through, much like the character he was playing, proving that sometimes, even in Hollywood, it takes more than a little spinach to keep going. From the start, Popeye was a production filled with challenges. The film faced repeated script rewrites, creative clashes, and logistical nightmares. Screenwriter Jules Feiffer frequently disagreed with songwriter Harry Nilsson, believing the musical numbers disrupted the film's pacing. Meanwhile, Robin Williams struggled with Popeye's signature mumbled speech, particularly while keeping a pipe in his mouth. As a result, much of his dialogue had to be re-recorded in post-production. As these issues dragged on, Popeye fell behind schedule and over budget. Paramount, growing impatient, ordered the production to wrap up immediately and return to the US with whatever footage had been completed. This sudden cutoff led to speculation that some planned scenes were never filmed, which may explain the film's occasionally disjointed feel. Despite the rushed conclusion to filming, Popeye made it to theaters on time. However, the chaotic production process left its mark, contributing to the film's uneven tone and making it one of the more unusual adaptations of a beloved cartoon character. On paper, Popeye should have been a financial success. The film grossed $60 million worldwide against a $20 million budget, more than doubling its cost. However, both Paramount and Disney had expected much bigger numbers, especially given the popularity of Robin Williams and the long-standing appeal of the Popeye brand. Critics were mixed in their reception. While some praised Williams' dedication to the role, others found the film slow, meandering, and unfocused. The decision to make it a musical also divided audiences. While kids enjoyed the whimsical elements, many viewers felt the songs disrupted the film's pacing rather than enhancing it. Ironically, Popeye ended up outgrossing Annie, the very movie that had inspired its creation, by $3 million. While it never became the blockbuster Paramount and Disney had hoped for, Popeye slowly built a cult following. Today, many fans appreciate its unique charm, quirky performances, and Williams' energetic portrayal of the iconic sailor. One of the most unexpected casting choices in Popeye came in the form of baby Sweet Pea, the psychic infant found by Popeye and Olive Oyl. While Hollywood often hires twins to play infant roles for practical filming reasons, director Robert Altman took a different approach. He cast his own grandson, Wesley Ivanhoe, in the role. This personal connection added a sentimental layer to the film's production. Having his grandson on set not only allowed Altman to ensure a level of comfort for the baby actor but also made the experience more meaningful for the director. Though Wesley Ivanhoe never pursued a major acting career after Popeye, his role remains a fun bit of trivia for film buffs and Altman fans alike. While baby Sweet Pea's presence in the film is memorable, especially with his unexpected psychic abilities, the behind-the-scenes casting choice makes it even more fascinating. It's not every day that a director can say their own grandchild played a key role in their film. In Popeye, the Oyl family plays a significant role in the story, with Olive Oyl's mother, Nana Oyl, being one of the more eccentric supporting characters. But an interesting casting quirk lies in the fact that the actress playing Nana Oyl, Roberta Maxwell, was only 7 years older than Shelley Duvall, who portrayed Olive Oyl. Despite the small age gap, Maxwell convincingly played the overbearing, dramatic mother figure to Duvall's quirky and love-struck Olive. This kind of casting choice isn't uncommon in Hollywood, where older actors are sometimes made to look younger and vice versa. But in Popeye, it adds to the film's already surreal, exaggerated style, where characters feel like they've stepped straight out of a cartoon. While this age gap might have gone unnoticed by many viewers, it highlights how Popeye's production embraced unconventional choices, further adding to its quirky and theatrical charm. Bringing Popeye's unique way of speaking to life was no easy task, even for a talent like Robin Williams. The beloved sailor is known for his fast-paced muttering, exaggerated voice, and the constant presence of his iconic pipe, all of which created unexpected difficulties during filming. Williams had to master Popeye's signature raspy, garbled speech while keeping a corncob pipe clenched in his mouth. The challenge wasn't just delivering his lines in character, it was making sure they were actually understandable. As a result, many of his original recordings were muffled or unclear. To fix this issue, much of Williams's dialogue had to be re-recorded in post-production. This allowed him to fine-tune his delivery without the limitations of the pipe, ensuring that audiences could follow along with Popeye's quirky but endearing speech. Though the process was time-consuming, the final result helped cement Williams's performance as a memorable and authentic take on the classic cartoon character. Most movie musicals follow a well-established process. Actors pre-record their songs in a studio and then lip-sync to the tracks while filming. However, Popeye took an entirely different approach. Director Robert Altman, known for his preference for naturalistic performances, insisted that all musical numbers be recorded live on set. This unconventional choice was meant to add realism and spontaneity to the performances, allowing the actors to fully embody their characters in the moment. However, it also created a host of technical challenges. Recording live vocals on an outdoor set, especially in the seaside town of Sweet Haven, meant dealing with background noise, fluctuating acoustics, and inconsistent audio quality. While this method gave the film a raw, theatrical feel, it also contributed to some of the criticism surrounding Popeye's musical elements. Some viewers found the songs awkwardly integrated, while others felt the live recordings lacked the polish of traditional Hollywood musicals. Regardless, the decision reinforced the film's quirky, one-of-a-kind identity, much like Popeye himself. Every great adventure film needs an epic climax, and Popeye was no exception. The final showdown between Popeye and Bluto was meant to include a thrilling encounter with a giant mechanical octopus, adding an extra layer of danger to the seaside battle. However, what was supposed to be a dramatic spectacle quickly turned into one of the film's biggest production nightmares. The animatronic octopus, designed to thrash menacingly in the water, repeatedly malfunctioned. Instead of creating suspense, the creature often flopped lifelessly or failed to move at all. Crew members had to resort to manually pushing the octopus's tentacles just to make it appear alive on camera. These technical issues caused significant delays, further stretching an already troubled production schedule and inflating costs. Despite the octopus's mechanical failures, director Robert Altman pushed forward, determined to make the scene work. In the final cut, the battle still delivers action, but the octopus, meant to be a formidable threat, comes across as more of a quirky obstacle than a fearsome sea creature. While it may not have lived up to expectations, the octopus remains a memorable, if unintentionally humorous, part of Popeye's cinematic legacy. Over 40 years later, Popeye remains a one-of-a-kind adaptation, beloved for its quirky style and unforgettable performances. Whether you grew up watching it or are just discovering it now, there's no denying its place in movie history. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories from your favorite classic films.